Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Heather Lou coming to you with part 2 of my Japan haul. We did a video a little while back of all of the sewing related stuff I got on a trip to Japan, and there was a lot of enthusiasm about it and people wanted to see the other non-sewing related stuff I got. So here I am to share it with you. As I had mentioned in our first video, we tried to pack super light when I went to Japan. I brought a giant suitcase, but I only really packed a carry-on. I traveled super light. And then the big suitcase was really for everything that I brought back. Highly, highly recommend that you do that, especially with the price of the yen right now. I found a lot of stuff way more affordable than it would be definitely in North America, but certainly if you were even trying to import it here, it was kind of next level. I don't even know where to begin. I guess the first thing I'll say is that onsen culture in Japan is unbelievable. So there are these beautiful natural hot springs. Most towns seem to have an onsen of some kinds. I think there's just so much hot spring activity in Japan. And so we visited a lot of onsens, and a lot of the public ones will have these cute gift shops where you can buy stuff in the gift shop. And so one of my favorite things that I bought was this little, I guess like flag or banner. I'm saving it if I ever get a sauna, which is my dream. I'm going to be hanging this in the sauna. And I just thought it was really cute. And I think it was like $5 or something. So you get to support the onsen and then I get this cute thing. The other thing I loved about Japan is they're really into, I would say, kind of Western style workwear and kind of classic American sportswear. In Japan, it's called like so there's like the workwear thing that they're really into. And then there's also like Ivy style, which is kind of into Ivy League style. There's like a whole tangent I could go on about that. But with the workwear, they are really, really into bandanas. And so there's lots of companies producing bandanas. And so I found a few because I'm going on a huge bandana kick. So I was in a shopping kind of big fancy department store and found this cute little place that did these little printed bandanas. So I bought a few of these. I just love them. And I've been wearing these a lot. I actually had to iron them because they were pretty wrinkled. So I think I got, the brand for this one was called HR Market. I just loved this woman's face. And then I loved the message on this. Open your heart and eyes, never change life. HR Market. So if you're in Japan, you want to go to HR Market. My absolute favorite store I visited in Japan, period, but maybe ever in the world, maybe my favorite store of all time, is Kapital with a K. There's a really great David Sedaris short story about shopping in Japan with his sisters, and he talks a lot about Kapital. It's a very funny short story. And it's become quite famous, I think, in like fashion circles, like a lot of like streetwear people are really into streetwear. Like Kapital's kind of a must visit. It started out as the current designer of Kapital, his father went to the US in the 80s and became obsessed with vintage American jeans, came back to Japan and started recreating them using mills in Japan. And his son went to art school in New York City, also got obsessed with kind of American fashion and was also an artist, came back to Japan, took over the company. So it's just this blending of like an obsession with denim, which I think the Japanese do denim and jeans better than anyone in the world. And then this beautiful artistic sensibility. And it's just a really unique shopping experience. Like the stores themselves are breathtaking. The clothes are amazing. They're really weird. Like the fits are really weird. They're not meant to be flattering in any way. They're just really oversized. Silhouettes are really exaggerated, proportions, there's lots of details. I'll get Jimmy to put some photos of me like trying clothes on in the changing room. They do a lot of regular kind of traditional denim, but then they'll take denim and like completely deconstruct them and tear them apart and put holes in them and then embroider them and dye them. And the prices were like expensive, but I think if there wasn't a company, let's say in the US doing the same thing, it would be 4 times as expensive. So I actually found, as somebody who does a lot of like high-end window shopping, I actually found the prices fairly reasonable, especially again with the yen being what it is. Having said that, like I kind of regret not buying more clothes there just because some of them were so wild and I felt overwhelmed. I should say I went to multiple stores, like they have a few in Tokyo. I went to Kyoto, Osaka, Okayama is their headquarters. I went to that store. Every store is completely different. You'll find different garments, different things that they're specializing in each store. The Okayama shop was really cool because there's part of their entire headquarters is there where they produce everything. And you can see some of the workshops are behind glass. You can actually see where they're producing the clothes. And then again, the owner of and the designer of the company is obsessed with American workwear. So there's a bandana museum there. You pay like 500 yen, which is about $5. And it was like 5 rooms filled with like 100,000 bandanas going back 200 years. And so of course at Kapital, I had to buy a bandana. And so I bought this one, which I love so much. And I also bought the same one for my best friend who's been going through a really hard time. And I felt this was very appropriate because she has a lot of tattoos. And it says, prepared to live through adversity, a happy face. And it's got little cats on it. I love it. I've been wearing this one a lot. So awesome bandana. Also at Kapital, I did end up buying a sweatshirt. Here, it was like one of the few things that I was like not overwhelmed to buy. But like a lot of their clothes, the sleeves are like weirdly long. They make really interesting decisions with like proportions. So the sleeves when I wear it are past my arm. And I do believe this was a woman's sweatshirt. So when I wear it, I like really have to push the sleeves up. So that was like my 2 purchases at Kapital. But one of the things that they do every year, or maybe even every season, are these lookbooks. And I kept seeing them in the stores. And I was asking about them to see if they could be purchased. And one of the salespeople said that I had to go to the Okayama headquarters and that they sold old catalogs. So I bought a ton of them. And if you think this is an insane stack of things to be carrying around Japan, you're not wrong. My partner was like not thrilled to be carrying this all over Japan, but these are incredible. So you can kind of see some of the deconstructed, like they really make jeans look like they've been around for 200 years and have survived like coal mining and then are selling them again. But I'm just kind of obsessed with this company. This one is their like 2018 catalog. The styling is great. I love the models. The photo shoots are so beautiful. And I just thought these would be really great resources to have in the studio if we're just looking for inspiration, looking for different ways to, make garments in original ways. And these were so cheap. When I went to ask about how much they cost, the guy working was like, yeah, we sell them, but like, they're about 500 yen. Is that like, basically like that was crazy. And 500 yen is less than $5 Canadian. I was like, no problem. I'll take all of them. So I have, I don't know, like 8 or 9 of these catalogs. And you can see some of them if you go on the Kapital website. They have some selections of them available as PDFs. But I'm obsessed with this company. I think the designer is brilliant. And I think the work they do is completely brilliant. And his name is Kiro Hirata, by the way. That's the designer for Kapital. And I'm not going to like get into it, but I find looking at his stuff, like you can see like Himalaya, this one is Himalayan high ivy. They actually went to the Himalayas and a lot of these photos are being taken in the Himalayas. They feature indigenous people from this region. A lot of the clothes are inspired by these places. And I found it really, the kind of cultural appropriation conversation we're having in the West is not the same one they're having necessarily in Japan, where I think what I tended to notice was that they're kind of a lot more inputs are coming in and they are taking ideas from a lot more places and then producing things in a distinctly Japanese way with their point of view, but with all these beautiful influences. And I think it was kind of incredible. And I felt very inspired. And I feel like I hope we can move towards a place where we are more open and receptive to like ideas and concepts from other places in the world. So Kapital, amazing find. If I went back to Japan, I'd probably go to every single store again just because I was so inspired by what they were doing. The attention to craft, detail, and then just creativity was really inspiring. I also bought a pair of jeans in Japan, which might seem a little weird since I feel like I built my brand, built Closet Core on jeans. But I've been wanting to experiment with raw denim. And so I thought I would just go to the source and get the best pair of salvage raw denim jeans on the market and try to get my own natural fade. So I bought a pair of Momotaro jeans. So Momotaro is like one of the cult Japanese salvage denim brands. These are actually men's jeans and they fit me. So I went into the store, they had really great salespeople. And I was like, do you have women's jeans? He said, no, but a lot of women wear our jeans and fit into them. And these ones actually fit perfectly. The only issue I find when I'm wearing them is they're meant to be worn lower on the waist. And the jean pockets are a little too far spaced on me. Like they're really like look a little too wide. But you can always tell a pair of Momotaro jeans because they have this white stripe on them. And what I love is that they've got the selvage. So they're extra long and I wear them cuffed so you can see the selvage detail. And then of course, these jeans are completely constructed in Japan. And so these were a bit of an investment, but I'm working on a bunch of denim projects right now, which I won't get into. And I kind of wanted to look at some different ways of constructing denim. One of the things I find cool about this pair of jeans is that there is a rivet on the back pocket, but it's concealed. So you only see the post here. And then from this side, the other end of the rivet is concealed within the denim. So just little things like that I find really interesting. And this is 15-ounce denim, so they're quite thick. The denim salesman said that if I wear them basically for the next year, they're just gonna get softer and softer and softer. And then he was saying that the heavier the denim, the better the wear pattern. So I'm gonna have to do like a before and after to see like how they age. It's starting to get too hot in Montreal, so I don't know how much I'm gonna be wearing them this summer, but definitely in the fall, I will go back to wearing these all the time. Another favorite thing of mine in Japan are the dollar stores. They have really good dollar stores. They're called 100 yen stores. And the best one I visited while I was there is called 3 Coin. And so it's kind of like a high-end, more upscale dollar store. And so it's just a great place to go to get really cute, cheap gifts. So when I came back, I wanted to bring stuff back for this Closet Core staff and the Core Fabrics team. And so I just went to 3 Coins and I just picked up cute things like socks and really cute hair barrettes and all sorts of little things. And so I think that, you know, you're not spending a lot of money, but then everybody feels special because they got something from Japan and then you didn't have to break the bank. So it's just one thing to think about. And also I got all these cute, like I've been wearing this little beaded hair tie every day and I'll be wearing these socks this fall with my loafers. So I was really happy to get all of this stuff. Okay, knives. If you're a cook, and you're going to Japan, I would really plan to set aside some cash to get some Japanese knives. I have a knife at home already that is made in a Japanese style. And basically it's just a very, very thin carbon steel knife. My friend is a knife maker and made it for me. And so that's the only Japanese style knife I had. So I knew that I wanted to go back and get more. That said, I definitely got some sticker shock. I think I was assuming because I was getting them directly from the source, they were going to be more affordable, but a really good quality Japanese knife is $200, $300, $400, $500, $2,000. And the other thing is I found a lot of the knife stores were kind of like macho. Like I went into one and he was playing death metal and it was just like a bunch of knife guys. And I just felt like kind of insecure. I don't know, this is like my own insecurity, but it was just like this very aggressive knife culture. And I felt like I needed to go in and have all the lingo. And so I just kept going into these knife stores and looking at knives and feeling overwhelmed and insecure and then leaving. And then I finally went into a knife store that there was a young woman working and she was awesome. And we had a really good time. And I was like complaining about the death metal. And she was like, yeah, like she's like, until I started working here, they were basically playing death metal every day and I had to get them to stop. So I ended up buying a few knives from her, but I think I got these two at that particular shop. These are both under $100. So I think this one is stainless steel. I think it might actually be carbon steel with a stainless steel coating. And because there's carbon steel underneath, there's already a little bit of rust because I think my boyfriend washed this knife and probably didn't dry it enough. And then this one it looks like a cleaver, but it's really just like a big chopping knife. So this is good if you're like trying to break down like watermelon or potatoes or carrots or whatever. And this is the same thing. It is a carbon steel with a little bit of stainless steel. And again, it's starting to rust already. So the thing with carbon steel knives is they have a really thin blade. So I find I just really like cutting with them. It's not like this big thick like Henkel blade. But they're a little bit more delicate and brittle. So these aren't knives that I'm going to use to like break up bones or anything like that. If I'm like deboning a chicken, I wouldn't be using these. I'd probably be going with like a full stainless steel knife. But here you can see this is like completely carbon knife. There's no stainless steel on this. And because there's no stainless steel, they do rust. So you just have to make sure that every time you wash them or every time you use them, you wash them right after and then you dry them. And I'll also give them a little coat of oil. But they just have this like really, and they are so sharp. And I like my knives sharp, sharp, sharp. And I sharpen them all the time. And so I just really like cooking with these. And I love this little guy. I've been actually using this guy the most. Really simple wood handle. And I think this one was probably the cheapest one. I think it was like 40 or 50 bucks. And I was really happy to find it because most of the knives I've been looking at were hundreds of dollars. So if you have the budget, I say treat yourself to a really good Japanese carbon knife. You won't regret it as long as you're good about taking care of them. If you are into skincare, if you are into makeup, Japan is a wonderful place. I had my best day shopping for skincare and makeup at a store called Hands, and they have them all over Japan. And the one I went to, I think, was in Shibuya, and it was like a multi-level store. And they had one floor that was just dedicated to cosmetics, and I was in there for like 3 hours. And I just brought a few of the things that I found. Like this blush I love. It's kind of a jelly, like when you put it on your skin, it's cool. And it feels like you're rubbing like Jello on your skin. And it's this really sheer blush. And I've been wearing this every day. And then this one I haven't even started. It's called a Souffle Color Pot. Okay. And the consistency of this, it comes with like a little brush. And the consistency of it is like, yes, it's like a little souffle. And I actually should be wearing this. I don't know why I haven't pulled it out yet. But tons of makeup. I got a ton of really great lipstick, eyeliner. And then at that same store, they had a ton of these bath powders, and I bought a bunch of them back to give as gifts. This one just made me laugh so hard. I think it's basically like an onsen experience. So if you put this in your bath, it makes you get super, super hot and sweat. And I guess it would be good for your circulation. So I haven't used this one yet, frankly, because I'm like a little scared. Look at her face. This is very intense. This looks like a very intense bath. But maybe if I'm like sick and need to get a good schwitz going, I'm gonna like use these. But these were again good. These were like a couple bucks each. Awesome gifts. We have already talked a little bit about my experience at the Shibori Museum. And we're doing a whole video about the experience there, but I did want to share, because I had forgot to share it in the video, these two little pieces, art pieces, I guess. They're silk that have been dyed using some of the methods that they employ at the Shibori Museum. And so I think these are just pieces of fabric that they wrapped around foam core. And they were like 3,500 yen, so maybe like $30 Canadian. And so I got two of them. I already got frames from IKEA. These are going up in my house, just like a sweet, cute little piece of art from Japan. I was also lucky enough to go to a craft fair when I was there, and I bought this beautiful ring, which unfortunately broke. But one of my favorite things that I bought in Japan were these really cute pot holders. So it's all dyed with indigo, all of the cotton. So there's different like weaves of, like I have like this looks like a chambray, this is linen, this is like another weave that have all been dyed kind of different strengths of indigo. And then it's been embroidered using sashiko thread. And then there's like a waffle on the other side. And so there was a craftsperson who had made all of these. So I got one for myself and one for my mom, which was like another really pretty gift. I love this. And I have it just hanging on a hook in my kitchen. It looks really cute. At the knife store, you can also get stuff like you can get your sewing scissors, you can get thread snips, all that stuff. And at one of those knife stores, I also got this, which kind of looks like a medieval torture device, if you can see the pins on it. But what this is, it's used for Japanese floral arrangements. So they will put the stalk of the flower in these spikes and then put the whole thing in water, and that's how they get some of these really beautiful arrangements. So I'm gonna experiment with making some arrangements this summer for my garden using these blocks. Somehow managed to get that on the plane. It definitely looks like it could be a terrorist implement, but I think I checked it, so it was fine. Obviously, if you're in Japan and you're into tea, you're in the right place. So we went out for dinner one night, and it was a nice restaurant, and we just asked for tea at the end of the night, and the tea they gave us, we were like, what is this tea? This is the most delicious tea we've ever had in our entire life. The chef was like, yeah, it's kayobancha. Like, this isn't fancy. Like, why are you guys freaking out? We're like, it's so delicious. He's like, yeah, it's kayobancha. It's not that big of a deal. So you can go into all these tea shops and you could buy matcha, and like a small container of matcha would be, you know, $20, $30, $40, depending on the grade of matcha you're getting. But then we kept seeing these giant bags that were like less than $10. And we were like, what kind of tea is that? And they were like, it's kayobancha. And this is what we realized. So I'm not a green tea expert and I'm not a huge fan of matcha. But green tea, matcha is essentially green tea that's pulverized. But then over the sake, like the lifespan of the tea plant and successive harvests of the tea, the kayobancha is basically the last harvest of the tea. And so by the time they harvest it, most of the caffeine in the leaves has already been grown and used. And so this is very, very low caffeine. So they say it's like good for children and the elderly because green tea can be like powerfully caffeinated, and they smoke it. And so it's got this kind of like smoky green tea flavor, but without all the caffeine. And we brought back 3 bags of it and we drink it every night, and it makes us think of Japan, and it's delicious. And then of course I was trying to find it in Canada, and it was like $20 for like 100 grams. So glad that we got so much of this, and would definitely go back to that town in Japan to buy more of it the next time we go to Japan. Okay, who here has seen Kill Bill? Who here has wanted to dress like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill? Who is now able to do that? I really need to learn Kung Fu in order to wear these. So these are from Onitsuka Tiger, which is kind of a heritage athletic brand in Japan. I believe they have been bought by like Adidas, possibly. But they've been making sneakers like this for, I don't know, decades in Japan. And in Tokyo, there's like 5 of these stores, and they're very, like, I thought I was like cool and like going to buy these shoes, and I was like clearly not the only person having this idea because I'm surrounded by tourists who are also trying on these shoes and buying them. But I bought them. I love them. They're super comfortable. Obviously, guys, they're my color. We all know Heather's favorite color is yellow. And so I'm really just delighted with these shoes. And I thought, you know, sometimes with these like little shoes with a thin sole, they're not super comfortable and good for walking, but I actually have already done a ton of walking in these. Was definitely doing like 20,000 step days. And I think if I have to go out for Halloween this year, we know what I'm going to be. So my only regret is that I didn't buy the white pair with the red and blue stripes, because I do love these and I'm going to be wearing them nonstop. Last but not least, Japanese fashion magazines. This, again, annoying to carry around the country with you, so I suggest if you want to bring back some Japanese fashion magazines, that you wait till the end of your trip. My favorite one is this one called Popeye. And my neighbor, upstairs neighbor, Rika, who used to work here, is Japanese. And so while I was in Japan, she was very excited, and she just kept sending me like reels and stuff from Instagram. And so she sent me a video of a Japanese person explaining how, particularly like men's fashion magazines work in Japan. So obviously they have spreads and clothes, but one of the things that I've noticed about them, and what he was kind of pointing out, is that there is like a level of detail, one might say, that I just think Japanese culture in general is very detail oriented and striving towards perfection. And so it even kind of manifests in these magazines where they're talking about these really, really specific styling details. Like here we're talking about, I don't obviously speak Japanese, but I think they're talking about like the length of the pant and how it's going to break on the shoe. Here we're looking at like belts. Here they're talking about really, really specific ways that we're gonna style shirts and how we can wear, like how we're gonna fold up the sleeve, how we wear the watch on top of the shirt. So these like extremely detailed kind of guides to how to style and wear clothes. So it's just really cool because I do find Japanese fashion super creative, but within that creativity, there's still like a process and a method for kind of getting there. So this was my favorite one. And I am kind of obsessed with Japanese menswear. I think I've said this before, but like far and away, like my favorite clothes in Japan were men's clothes. So I love these magazines. So I got a couple of men's ones. Then there's this one called Fudge. So this was fun looking at it again. I'm really into all of these clothes. I want my style for this year to just be cool Japanese guy. And then the women's magazine I wasn't as inspired by. But one thing that I noticed in Japan, and one thing I actually noticed when I was looking through this magazine, is that they're like Japanese women are really into skirts, and they're really into like these midi length longer skirts. I would be on the subway sometimes, and I would look up and literally everybody would be wearing that same length of skirt. So I kept seeing it pop up in this magazine. So I don't know, there's a little insight into style that I noticed. But these are just really fun souvenirs to come and bring back. And so I've got a bunch of these. Selena and I have been looking at them. Maybe we'll get some ideas for future patterns. We'll see. So that's my haul. I think there was more stuff, but I brought a lot of stuff to give away. And then I don't know, maybe there's other stuff I forgot about, but I think I was pretty judicious. Only bought a little bit of clothes, like mostly small stuff that I'm going to use and enjoy every day. But certainly like at one point, I was just every day kind of felt high whenever I was walking around and shopping or window shopping, like intoxicated. Like I just wanted to buy everything because everything everywhere is the best thing that you've ever seen, and everything was so beautiful. And I was getting so overwhelmed, and I just felt like I was getting all this stuff. And then I would say about midway through the trip, I started feeling a bit like, okay, we're going to slow down. First of all, like money isn't infinite, and also space isn't infinite, and also like you don't need to buy everything to bring this experience home with you. So by the last week, I had really slowed down. I told my partner, I was like, okay, Chris, like I'm not buying anything else. I just want to be here and be present and not be obsessed with like going to the best knife store in this town, and go to a garden instead. And so that's what we started to do. But again, cannot stress enough. It is the greatest place for shopping I've ever been in my entire life. Every day was a joy. Nobody makes stuff better. And if I could go back tomorrow with an unlimited budget, I think this haul video would be a lot longer. So that's it for that. If you like this one, you want to watch my other Japanese haul video, you can. Otherwise, we have new videos coming every week, trying to keep you entertained here on YouTube. So of course, if you want to help us out, you can hit subscribe or like, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.